Hi, I'm Diane Dressback, and I have Kimber Lee with me today, and we have the pleasure of interviewing Melissa Farley. Melissa Farley is a chapter writer in our compilation book, From Us for You, Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. She has helped us interview many of the authors for the book, so you'll recognize her face from that. So thank you for being with us today, Melissa. And I always like to say where I think I met you. And of course, it was in the film community. I think my first interaction with you was when you were an actor in our feature film that we did. You remember that way back when? That was
Yeah,
several years ago. So you were one of our actors in the film. So why don't you give us a little introduction to yourself?
sure. And I want to say your film that I was in was one of my first embarrassing moments that I've had as an actor because I talked while the mic was on about how I thought the audio guy liked me. And I didn't realize that it was like a hot mic. And so he came up to me. He's like, I do think you're cute, but I'm not hitting on you. And I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I just thought you would think that story was funny.
That is funny. I never knew that. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
No, but yes. Hi, I am Melissa Farley. I am doing kind of a bunch of different things right now. I am the director of customer experience and a happiness ambassador for Marlies Carlin at SOS Method. It's a meditation app and experience. And I'm also doing social media contracts on the side. And I started my own business this year. It's called Stronger Today. Yeah, and it's all about empowering women and basically finding your happiness. So it's a really cool community. You can come hang out with us at strongertoday.co. There's a blog and a podcast, and yeah, I'm really proud of that. So yeah, that's me.
That sounds great, Melissa. And you know what? You are just so stunning and so beautiful. So you exude that happiness. And every time I work with you, you make my heart happy. So thank you.
Yay.
And I'm so excited to read your chapter. I cannot wait. So can you give us just a quick snippet, elevator pitch of what you wrote about?
Yeah, so actually it was the build up to Stronger Today because before all of this, I was working in corporate journalism for about a decade of my life. And I always called it an accidental career. I didn't mean for that to happen. It just kind of happened. And then I kept staying there. And but I wasn't happy. It was really killing my soul. And I was getting close to burnout, basically. And so I decided to leave my job. And that was a really big decision for me. It was really scary. And I know that a lot of people are in the same place that I'm in or was in and have a lot of questions about that and a lot of fear about making the transition. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey and how that all went.
That's really awesome because there are a lot of people out there that are unsatisfied and looking for something and really afraid to take that next step. So you're going to inspire many, many people. And if, with that being said, what would be the one bit of advice, the overall advice that you would have for someone that is making that transitional step to make it easier for them?
It's funny when you asked that, I had like all these practical things start going off in my head of what I should say. And then, but like a resounding thing that was happening in my other chakras was like, just don't wait as long as I did. I wait, because I'm one of those people that I wait too long to make moves to make my soul happy. I stay in relationships longer than I should have. I stay in crappy situations longer than I should. And with my job, I knew that I should have left about 2.5 years ago. And I just kept trying to stick it out. And that really is something that I would advise because it's never really going to be a perfect time to make a big change like that in your life. There's always going to be risk factors and things that are going on that are going to want to prevent you from doing it. But the longer you wait, the longer you're denying yourself what you truly want and who you truly are. And that's not fair. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to the world, denying the gifts that you could bring to the world, living in your true self. So don't wait as long as I did. That would be my one overall piece of advice.
And that's perfect advice because so many of us do keep putting off with bad relationships, bad careers, bad choices, and yeah, do it right now. Now is the moment. And since now is the moment, I'm going to take you out of the moment, and I'm going to ask you where you see yourself, your career, or whatever inspires you 5 years down the road. What does your world look like?
Oh gosh. It's funny. I have this picture in my head of a big celebration with confetti and champagne bottles and pink streamers of this really amazing group of women that I've assembled as a team at Stronger Today. And we have effectively come together to help and inspire and just really ignite a fire in women all over the world. And so I hope to be a little like Brene Brownish, speaking at events and maybe have a book come out and just really keep doing that work with uplifting women, because I tell you what, we beat ourselves down enough, and I think that's such a natural thing for women to always have these burdens that we carry. And I want to be the light bringer, I want to bring a little bit of light to the world for us ladies. So that's where I hope to be in 5 years.
Well,
I totally can see you doing all of those things, Melissa. I really.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Definitely. I have a question. So I know that you mentioned that you serve on the Emerging Leaders Council for New Pathways for Youth.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to know, I mean, I think you would be, and I know you've mentored, you've had a girl that you've mentored or a young woman that you've mentored for a while. And I just think that that's such a natural thing for you to do. And tell us a little bit about your mentoring of youth and the young lady, and what do you discover about yourself when you do that?
Oh, so much. I think I learned just as much from this experience as my mentee does. I'm so glad you asked that, because any chance I get to talk about New Pathways for Youth, I love it. If you've thought about mentoring or working with children, I highly encourage you to check out that organization and get involved. It's been life-changing for me. I've been with Jade now for almost as long as I've been married. So it's going to be 4 years in April. And, it's one of those things where I've learned that I'm going to try to explain this. One of the things that happens when you start mentoring is you have all these expectations of what you want to happen for your kiddo. You want them to do well in school, and you want them to excel in this, and you want to fix these problems that they've talked about in their life. And I'm not a parent. I don't know what it's like to actually have my own child, but you really quickly realize, oh, I can't control this. They're their own person. They have to make these own choices, and they have to learn these mistakes and go through these things themselves. And my job really is to be there for her through all of it and love her unconditionally through all of it. It doesn't matter if she gets A's or C's. It doesn't matter if she does what I want her to do or what I don't want her to do. I'm just there to love her. And that in itself makes a big difference in her life, because all of these kids are at-risk youth. A lot of them have parents that are in jail. They live below the poverty level. They are facing lots of adversity. And so just having somebody there to be a constant presence for them, it shifts their whole idea of possibility, And so that's something that I really had to learn to let go of, this control factor, and just be with her. And it's taught me so much just about relationships in general, I think.
Yeah, actually, and you are a mom if you're doing that.
It feels like it sometimes, yeah.
Because you just described the role of a parent. So
Yeah. The frustrating thing too sometimes is like, you want to see immediate results, and then you realize sometimes you don't see them respond to something that you talked about until like 6 months later, and you're like, oh my God, they really were listening. Like it really did plant a seed in there somewhere. And I've talked to other parents that have said the same thing. Like, I tried to talk to my son about this, and it was like 3 years later that he kind of came to me and was like, Mom, remember that time? So yeah, I know that's a very real thing. So
what, in your opinion, talking to anybody out there, is the key to success in life?
Ooh, there's so many different definitions of success, right? For everybody, success looks different. For me, what success has turned into, it wasn't always this for me, is to truly enjoy and appreciate the moment that I'm in. And that sounds really simple, but it's actually really hard. It's a really hard thing to do. But if you can reach that place in your life where you have joy and gratitude and just appreciation for whatever, whether you're employed or unemployed, whether you're married or single, whether you're whatever you are, you just have love for it and for yourself. And that is success, because nobody can take that happiness away from you. Nobody can take that worthy away from you if it's internal. So that's kind of my new version of success, and I really like it.
And I like it too.
Me too. I know of a really excellent interviewer who always asks this question. And so I would like to have you share some failure in your life that really turned out to be a blessing because you learned something from it. So can you think of something?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a absolutely pivotal moment for me in my life that I didn't appreciate, obviously, until I was older. But I was in thespians in high school, and I was actually supposed to be the secretary of the thespian organization that I was in. But in high school was when my depression got really, really bad and really, really intense. And I was having problems. I was starting to do that thing where you withdraw, from life, basically. And I didn't have the language to talk about it. I didn't know how to communicate what I was feeling and what I was going through. And so I was really falling back on my commitments to the thespian society. And every year we had a big initiation ceremony where the new thespians kind of went through this whole experience where they would kind of do a scavenger hunt and act out scenes. And it was this really cool thing. And I had just dropped the ball on basically making that happen. And the day of, the president and my theater teacher pulled me into the hallway and basically said, you're not going to be involved. We're kicking you out, basically, and you can go home. And I was heartbroken. I was shattered. And I want to say this, I still don't think that theater teacher handled that situation correctly. But what it did was it made me realize that not everybody knows how to talk about what's really going on in their life. Not everybody, we can't make assumptions about what's happening with other people. And I think this is really where that seed and that grain of empathy got planted in me, because after I went through something like that, anytime I've had to deal with difficult people, challenging work relationships, something that I don't fully understand in working relationships or personal relationships, I don't just dismiss them or get angry about it. I come at it from this perspective of, I don't know what's going on in their life. And maybe that's a conversation we need to have before I take action or, make a judgment of this situation. And so it really did change how I operate in almost every situation. And so, it was really painful. I definitely felt like a failure as a teenager for having gone through that. But I don't think that I would be the person I am today if probably that hadn't happened to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I've been in situations that, you feel just rejected and not accepted by everybody around you. And I agree with the delivering of the message, being that I was in human resources for a while. And, my style is trying to go with the attitude that there's a solution to this instead of just saying that's it. So that's,
Right.
that's good that you came through that and you learned from that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie there. I still have fantasies of showing up in my theater teacher's, office one day and being like, remember me? Look at how I turn out now. But I haven't done that yet. So.
She may show up at a book signing.
Yeah, there you go.
I hope so. Really, I do.
Okay, so I have one final question for you, and that is, while you were writing your chapter for From Us for You, is there something that you discovered about yourself, something new that you discovered as you were writing your chapter?
Yeah, I think what I realized is even when I was starting to like blog about it or journal about it, I kept trying to write it off as what I did wasn't that big of a deal. Like in my mind, I kept downplaying everything. And I do that a lot. It's hard for me to give myself credit a lot of times because just because of how I was raised, I think, and how, I don't know, I actually feel like that's a common theme with a lot of women in general. But as I was doing the chapter and I was kind of going through everything step by step and thinking about where I was at in my life then and where I'm at now and how different everything is, I was like, holy crap, I really did do something big. I mean, I made a life-changing choice, and it was huge. It was a huge deal. And so I think that that's something that I didn't really take into consideration when I was doing it. And that might have been a little bit of a defense mechanism, because I think if I had realized the gravitas of like what I was doing in the moment, I might have been overwhelmed and scared to take those steps. But maybe not realizing the magnitude of it until after the fact was the better way of handling it, because now I can look back and have a really kind of respect for myself that I don't think I had before. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but it really gave me that kind of affirmation that I needed, that I did do something that was a big deal, and that I'm proud of myself for doing that, because I think a lot of people
What you,
wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
what you did was a big deal.
yes, it
Thank
was.
you.
I think it was too, and I think you should feel really proud of yourself for that, and I think sharing that in your chapter is going to be helpful for a lot of people that are in the situation that you were in before, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. So I can't wait for them to read your chapter.
Me too. I hope so. That's my hope. I hope that people that are in a similar situation and can make that choice. I know sometimes, if you have kids or you've got other things going on, you can't just do what I did, and I'm aware of that. But I also know that there are people that can make that choice and are just really scared or really hesitant or reserved about it. And I hope that maybe reading that chapter helps give them just a sense of security that it's possible, and that it doesn't have to feel like the Wild West either. You can have some controlled steps that you take to help you get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Melissa, it's been wonderful talking with you, and we appreciate you interviewing with us. And like I said, I can't wait for people to read your chapter and everybody else's chapters in the book, and that will be coming soon. So, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for watching. If you would like to share the interviews with other people, please feel free to do that. And if you need more information about the book, you can go to FromUsForYou.com and get the details there. So thank you for joining us, and have a hopeful day.